What's up, my friend? My name is André and today I'll be reacting to 10 most scenic drives in the US. But before I go into that, can I ask you for one thing? If you can leave a like on this video, thank you so much for that. This is the best way to show support. If you can subscribe, oh man, in that case, well, forget about it. You make my day. Have that in consideration. Now, link for the original video in my description. You guys end up recommending this one quite a lot, so let's play it.
Howdy, it's Kyle
Hey.
talking about the 10 most scenic drives in the US. I've been fortunate enough to drive around the country many times, and I've seen some really beautiful drives. In this video, I want to talk about the 10 that I believe are the most beautiful, in my opinion. This is not going to be a countdown, just an overview of the drives, although I will save my personal favorite one for the very end. And all of the footage and images you're going to see are taken from the side of the road or very nearby. You won't have to stop and get out of the car, hike for a couple of miles to get to some of these spots, or drive down some weird, funky dirt road to get to them. And also, I have not been to either Alaska or Hawaii, and although I'm sure there are some very beautiful drives in those states, I won't be including them because I haven't actually done them. So let's take a look at the 10 most beautiful drives in the contiguous US.
Okay, look, real talk. This guy makes amazing videos. I feel like he's an expert on this type of stuff, so this list will probably be a crazy one. And it's difficult to make a top 10, I'm assuming, because America is so beautiful. Well, I mean, let's see it.
I want to start by talking about the Oregon coast. The whole coast is very nice, but I wanted to focus on the parts between Lincoln City and Brookings.
Okay.
This follows US Highway 101, and for most of the stretch, you're right along the coast. There are a few spots where you go a little bit inland. But one thing that is really great about Oregon is that all of the beaches are public. There's public access all along the way, and there's no big development going up and down the coast. There are no big cities.
Are you kidding me? Look at that. Man, I love to see this type of natural beauty. All the trees, they are probably very green. The water, this is tremendous. I'm gonna hot take, my friends. I think Oregon may be top 3 state in America when it comes to natural beauty. Am I crazy about that? I have no idea. You guys tell me in the comments. But I think Oregon is really beautiful. Every time to react to this type of stuff, Oregon always surprises me a lot. Look at that.
In fact, the biggest towns are under 10,000 people. There's a part where you go inland a little bit around Coos Bay, which is the big city in the area with about 15,000 people. But all of the coastal towns have less than 10,000. Effectively, the entire Oregon coast is one big state park, and there are all kinds of spots where you can stop and get out to the beach. It's just really nice. One long stretch of coastline in the U.S. that isn't completely developed with giant hotels and big cities. Next, I want to talk about the...
Okay, let's do a pause because this was intense. Oregon, incredible. I think it will be difficult to beat this one, I have to be honest. But, I mean, let's see it. Now... Okay.
Drive in and around Theodore Roosevelt National Park in western North Dakota.
North Dakota.
If you didn't know beforehand and you had to guess what state this was based on this footage, you might need about 40 guesses or so to get North Dakota. This is one of my favorite national parks in the country, and it's a great spot to get away from crowds. And you'll see a lot of wildlife here, a ton of bison, a lot of wild horses, big prairie dog towns. And just the general scenery of the North Dakota Badlands is beautiful.
Okay.
There are two.
Let me say just one thing. Holy moly, look at that. That's insane. I feel like I don't know a lot about North Dakota. I know a bit more about South Dakota. That does not mean a lot coming from me, I have to be honest. But this is insane. I mean, I was not aware of how beautiful North Dakota was, and you can drive through all of this. Insane.
To the national park, the North and South unit, hardly anybody goes to the South unit, and even fewer go to the North unit. You can drive around each of the 2 units, and US Highway 85 connects them both.
Okay.
If you're driving through the North unit outside of the time between Memorial Day and Labor Day, there's a very good chance you won't see anybody else in the park except for maybe a park ranger. There's really nowhere else in the U.S. that has this type of scenery, and yes, it's in North Dakota.
Okay,
the next drive
fantastic.
I want to talk about is in their neighbor to the south, South Dakota. When most people think of scenic beauty in South Dakota, they're going to think about Mount Rushmore and the Black Hills first, and that's both very nice. But what I wanted to talk about here is the drive between the town of Custer and Badlands National Park. Just
No chance. That does not look real. No chance. What is that? I mean, that's so beautiful. Oh, North Dakota was fantastic. South Dakota. I mean, this is not even my type of natural beauty, if that makes sense, but looking at this seems tremendous, actually. Wow. Man, if you live in America, I said this a couple of times, but enjoy your country because it's really, really nice.
Just east of the town of Custer, you get to Custer State Park. And this has got some nice scenery, but the best part about this drive is you're basically guaranteed to see a whole bunch of bison. They'll just be there chilling, roaming the streets, wishing people weren't there to bother them. But going a little bit farther east, you get to Badlands National Park, and this is where the scenery gets really gorgeous. The last time I was at this park, it was really cold, a bit too cold to be going hiking, but the drive is really nice going through the park, so you can see some really nice scenery and not even get out of your car. Heading way southeast is the drive across the Florida Keys. I'm talking specifically here US Highway 1 between Key Largo and Key West.
Wait, what? This looks fantastic also. Florida, okay. Was not aware of this.
The two is almost like being on one big bridge.
Yeah.
You go through all kinds of small islands, the Keys, and the whole time you're just seeing this beautiful turquoise water. There are several spots where you can stop and get out of your car along the way, and I remember I stopped at one and got out of the car and saw a couple of iguanas running around.
Okay.
I could see this road being kind of a pain in the butt and high traffic on busy holiday weekends, but it's all worth it when you get to the end at the Conch Republic. In my opinion, the most...
I mean, I have to be honest, I thought the other ones are a bit better than that one, but also really, really nice. I can imagine driving there is fantastic.
Beautiful stretch of drive along an interstate is Interstate 70 in the central part of Colorado. Between the towns of Eagle and Idaho.
And we have a winner, my friends. Colorado. Central Colorado, actually. That looks so beautiful. Imagine in your Mercedes-Benz, you guys probably do not use that in America, but imagine in your Chevrolet, I guess. That's so beautiful. By the way, I know you guys have Mercedes-Benz in America. I was joking. Ooh, that's beautiful. Oh no.
Springs is the highest elevation of anywhere on a U.S. interstate. The highest point is Loveland Pass at just under 12,000 feet.
Okay.
To go over the pass, the interstate itself goes through a tunnel, but you can take a side exit and go on U.S. Highway 6 to go over the actual pass. And with you being at almost 12,000 feet for a good chunk of the year, there's going to be a lot of snow on the mountains.
Yes.
If you want to experience high altitude...
I think I would like to drive with snow. That seems so beautiful. Can be a bit dangerous, I guess, but beautiful.
In thin air, but not go on some crazy hike or on some weird back roads, you can do it on I-70 in central Colorado. Okay. Next up, arguably the most famous drive in the U.S., the Blue Ridge Parkway. This goes through a large part of the southern Appalachians in North Carolina and Virginia, and my favorite part of the drive is the stretch between Asheville and Boone. You go right near Mount Mitchell, which is the highest peak in the eastern U.S., and this is a very nice drive no matter what time of the...
What a joke. I mean, I guess I will drink a bit water. I mean, I'm sorry, my friends. Yeah, America is a bit absurd when it comes to natural beauty. Look at that. I'm gonna drink water, you guys think about America. I'm also thinking about America. That's insane. I'm sorry, that's insane. Look at that, look at those colors. Are we in Paris? What is that? That's tremendous.
For the year you do this, the most popular time is going to be the fall, especially October during the peak fall foliage season. But that's also when it's the busiest. So you can go in the spring or summer and it's still very nice, very green.
I believe it.
Even during the winter with no leaves on the trees and a light dusting of snow, it is still very pretty. Next up is arguably the most...
Okay, this is one of the most mind-blown videos I ever saw. Sorry, I'm saying it. This is, I mean, I saw a lot of crazy videos about America, natural beauty. But this one, and knowing that you can drive through all of those places, it's insane. Sorry, it's insane.
Most famous drive in the western U.S., and that's the Big Sur coastal
So let's go back. I did not understand.
with no leaves on the trees and a light dusting of snow. It is still very pretty. Next up is arguably the most famous drive in the western U.S., and that's the Big Sur coastline in California.
California.
You've probably seen footage and images of this drive many times, and a lot of folks that are not familiar with California think this is much farther north in the state than it is. This is California Highway 1 between the towns of Carmel and San Simeon, which is where
the water looks amazing, and California is also crazy.
Hearst Castle is. And for most of this drive, you're along a big high cliff. There's all kinds of pull-offs. You can look over at some big drop-offs down to the ocean. And there's some serious wilderness between the...
Are you kidding me? Look at that bridge. Oh, that's beautiful. So this is California. Okay, this is really... Look, California, I feel like is the state, where you guys disagree a lot in the comment section. Some people believe it is the most beautiful place in the world. Other people say California is the worst state in America. Look, real talk, my friends. Looking at this type of stuff, I like California. This looks beautiful.
Coast and the valley on the other side of the mountains. And every few years, one of those bridges gets washed out and the road has to be closed, and the handful of people that live back there are basically cut off from society until the road gets repaired. So this is a drive where you'll definitely want to pull over at some of the turns.
You guys seeing the water falling there? That's tremendous.
Now to get your photos and some nice views as opposed to oohing and awing while you're driving.
Okay.
Next, I want to mention the north shore of the Upper Peninsula of Michigan along Lake Superior. Specifically, I'm talking about the stretch between the towns of Marquette and Grand Marais. You're hugging the lake shore for a big chunk of this drive.
Wait, there is water right there. Oh, okay.
You can see Grand Island out in the lake as you go around it, and it goes right to Pictured Rock National Lakeshore, which is a really nice spot. You can't see the beautiful cliffs of Pictured Rock from the road, but you are not that far from it. But even if you don't go off the main road into the National Lakeshore, just staying on the road is a really nice drive. You'll go around some nice sand dunes and you'll end up in the really cute town of Grand Marais.
For me, this is kind of crazy to see snow with water. It is so beautiful.
Most of the UP of Michigan is very beautiful, very wooded, but especially this spot along the north shore of the Upper Peninsula is where you have some of the most beautiful views. Next up is a nice drive around some mountain lakes in western Maine. I'm talking...
Before he even explains what's going on in Maine, the same thing I was saying to Oregon, I'm gonna say to Maine. Maine, low-key, one of the most beautiful states in America.
Primarily about the areas around Wrangley Lake, Mount Blue State Park, and the Sandy River Valley. Part of this area is called the Carabasset Valley. I'm not sure if that's how it's pronounced, but just some nice wilderness mountain lakes. Wrangley, or maybe it's Rangeley, I know is a very popular spot for people from Maine.
Yeah, that's ugly. Right, guys? That's really ugly. Come on, look at that.
Maine to go to in the summer, popular spot for people to have cabins. But even if you're just doing the loop drive in the area, you'll get some really fantastic scenery. And I'm pretty sure there are some characters from Stephen King novels buried out there. And in general, western/northwestern Maine is where you're going to find some of the deepest wilderness in the eastern U.S. And now for what I think is the most beautiful drive in the U.S. is the drive in southern Utah going through.
Okay, the most beautiful drive. Utah. Okay. I have big expectations for this one.
Through the national parks Zion, Bryce Canyon, and Capitol Reef. This is classic canyon country and a big part of the Grand Circle road trip tour that a lot of people do. The whole Grand Circle includes the 5 national parks of Utah as well as the Grand Canyon and other parts of northern Arizona. But
come on. If I visit America, I have to see Grand Canyon. No chance I visit America and I don't see that. Sorry, that looks like Mars to me.
I do think this particular stretch is the most beautiful. Driving through Bryce Canyon National Park requires going down a spur road into the park, but it's definitely worth it. And there's another spot called the Hogback, which is just this crazy ridge. It's a narrow road with a big steep drop off on both sides. I've driven over that part many times, and when I've been with other people, they always get kind of freaked out. Probably isn't the best time to have a tire blowout. You'll also go through Grand Staircase, Escalante National Monument, and a bunch of state parks as well. And the road goes right through Capitol Reef National Park, which is where you'll see some of the most colorful sandstone in the U.S. This drive is much longer than the other ones.
God, you can drive there. Okay, that's insane. The fact that you can drive there makes me question a lot of stuff in my life. That's insane.
I talked about in the video, but it is definitely worth checking out the entire route.
I believe it.
I highly recommend stopping at least a few times along the way, and probably want to make this a multi-day drive. So that's my overview of the 10 most scenic drives in the U.S.
What a great video.
It's a huge country, it's a beautiful country, and the best way to see it is from the road. I made sure to include different drives from various parts of the country, so that way everybody is fairly close to at least one of these. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up to let me know you approved.
I will.
And subscribe to this channel if you're interested in learning more about geography. I'm talking about cross-country road tripping like this, talking about cities and states, ranking them in all kinds of different categories. And I'm a bit of a nerd, so everything comes from a little more nerdy type perspective.
I love it.
Thanks for watching. Geography King, signing out.
And if there is something more? I guess no. I mean, I'm not sure what can I say about this one. This was incredible. I mean, can we all agree that America is one of the most beautiful places in the world? If you don't agree, leave my channel. If you agree, stay with me, because I have a couple of words. America is tremendous, and the fact that you can drive through a lot of that stuff is something else. I mean, if I go to America, and not if I go, one day I will go for sure. I would love actually to do some type of road trip, and I would love to include a lot of those places in the list if that's possible. Who knows, my friends? Do not forget to leave a like. Do not forget to subscribe. See you guys next time. Bye.